everybody. Welcome to the daily update for Thursday, March 19th, 2026. I'm cheating a little bit. I'm starting a little bit before the market closes because I don't think anything major is going to happen in the last minute. The firm. How about that super goop? It's not even Friday and I can't talk. How about that super group vibe here? The firm. Jimmy Page, Paul Rogers, Tony Franklin, Chris Slade from 84. Chris Slade and Tony Franklin just lock tight on that song right there. I can never replicate that on the drums. All right, let's, before we get into the analysis today, let's talk a little bit about the idea of weathering the storm. The storm being this sucky market that we're in right now. And I think we want to use the literal metaphor of weathering the storm. Like, how do you weather the storm? Well, ideally, you are in a nice, comfortable, Wi-Fi enabled cabin while the storm is out there and you're watching it through a thick plate glass window and you're just doing this, right? And you're just waiting. Nothing forces you to have to go out into the storm. You don't have to fight the storm. You have the option to just sit there and wait. It's the same thing when you lose a job, okay? You never want to be in a situation where life or circumstances force you to make a choice or a decision. So you lose a job and that's okay because guess what? You don't have any debt. So you're not servicing any debt and you've got a big rainy day fund. And so you can take your time and you don't have to jump at the first crappy offer that you get. You can take your time, find a job, a pay scale that works for you, right? You can do this with anything, but in the market, this is something that Howard Marks talks about. This isn't unique. You never want the market to make you make a decision. So right now, when the market's doing all this crazy stuff, up and down, volatility, yo-yoing lower, it sucks. But does it really suck? Does it really suck if, like a lot of Lund Loop subscribers, you've got a boatload of cash that you're just sitting on? Does it really suck if, like a lot of Lund Loop subscribers, you're just taking targeted day trades with fixed risk? Or maybe you're doing like option trades, so it's just premium paid. Does it really suck if you are a long-term investor and you've got years and decades until you have to worry about your stocks and your assets? Does it really suck if you're just slowly acquiring names in a core position in quality companies and bringing down the cost basis through different trading strategies? Does it really suck? It doesn't really suck. It might feel crappy. It might feel uncomfortable. My New Year's resolution is to learn how to talk. My New Year's resolution is to not say anymore, but it's only March, so I can still say it for another 9 months. Go to the Lund Loop homepage, the lundloop.com, and scroll down and take a look at this daily update from last week. The rule traders break before blowing up. The problem with weathering the storm is discomfort. All those scenarios I just talked about, long-term investor, someone building core positions strategically over time, someone taking short-term trades with limited downside risk, someone who's sitting on a boatload of cash, they're all objectively in the real world, they are in a great spot, but it still might feel discomforting, right? And the problem is when you go from the logical thing where you say like, that sucks, but I'm okay, to acting on the emotions, and you can't sit with that discomfort. So go back to that video and check out what I'm saying. But the bottom line is the way you weather the storm is to never be in a situation where you have to make decisions. That's a life rule. There are certain situations where life just makes you make decisions, but in most cases, you can control by planning ahead, by making smart moves, by not leveraging, by not taking undue risk. You can take control of the situation and say, I don't have to do anything. I can just sit here. I can wait. I can take targeted risk. It's going to suck. It's going to feel icky, but I can do it. And that way you get to the other side of the storm. Once the storm's over, then boom, we start making a shitload of money again. God, I've said shit twice on this video. Sorry. My apologies. All right, let's get to, let me close this out here. Let's get to today's horrible, horrible action. Let me close this. All right, let's go over here. All right, so today, another day where we are gapping lower. Yesterday we gapped below the high of the day. No, sorry, it was the low of the day, right? Today we gapped below the low of the day again. We didn't keep going down, but we just, every single rally got knocked down. Every single one got knocked down. It looked like we were just doing this bar coding. Then we got this spike going into like the last hour. Various reports, it could have been supposedly Netanyahu said the Iran war is going to be over soon. Supposedly Zelensky said something about maybe there's some peace proposal, whatever it was. The market popped. But here's what I said in the Discord. I said, you know, we got this little spiky move here. And I said, none of this is going to matter unless the SPX and the Q can close above yesterday's lows. And that's where we were at this point. And then we saw, you know, the spike start to, we saw progressively weaken. There's the spike. That's no big deal. That's a little consolidation bar. But then we see it start to roll over a little bit. You know, here's two consolidation bars fail. And then we really saw it pick up. And that's when I posted this GIF that said, failure is an option. Anyway, so, I mean, look, we didn't give the whole spike back. But if we go over here, let's go through the indexes here.